like, bro.
She got a kid. Look at his back. Oh my god. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another reaction. Today, finna react to Thomas Sowell on the illegal immigration crisis in the U.S. I'm always hearing about the illegal immigration crisis. I don't really know too much about it. I never really cared to look into it.
Build a wall.
Again, it's another topic that I need to learn about and just I really educate myself. I've seen some like what about that caravan? Like there was like thousands of people that was coming up from like Honduras or some sense.
Oh yeah, the march. You're talking about the march.
Yeah, what happened to
that was from my motherland. I'm actually Mexican. I don't even know, bro. I just remember they marched there, then everyone was just like, okay, now you can turn around. Like, march your ass back to your homeland. Like, you're not coming to the U.S. I don't know. There should be maybe a wall. But if you create a wall, there's people who are going to go over the wall. They're going to go underneath it, go through it. You know, it's just...
The wall is really just going to be a symbolic gesture.
Exactly.
It's not going to really do anything.
Exactly. And shout out to the person who told us that it's not Sowell, it's Sowell. I didn't know that.
Sowell. I'm over here butchering his name. But yeah, if y'all enjoying his reactions, let us know if you want to see more of him down in the comments. Make sure that like button, subscribe, and share. Go to 10K subscribers. We can holler into us.
Let's go.
If you had fences that went 5 feet into the ground and 10 feet above the ground and barbed wire on the top, I suspect we'd get just a few high-jumping athletes coming into the United States.
See, what did we just say? People want to come here, they go over or under.
That seem to be successful. Yes. No matter who are they. You mentioned Germans.
The overseas Chinese who are fascinating because the overseas Chinese are successful everywhere in the world. The Chinese are successful everywhere in the world except China. And you could also say of the Indians that by and large they are successful everywhere in the world except in India.
Is that because in India they're culture bound, for example?
That's right. There are so many restrictions on them. I remember an Indian businessman in California that's saying how he's visiting his son in Silicon Valley and he's trying to get him to come back to India. And the son won't go because here he can move ahead on his own merit. In India, they have more quotas and preferences than we do and have had them longer. And he knows that if he's not with the right group, why then he's not going to go anywhere. And so he says, forget it. He'll stay here in Silicon Valley.
We'll get into the subject of, you know, like say capitalism or communism where you can't even have your own business. That's limiting your freedom of expressing yourself.
He's talking about India. He's talking about like the whole caste system, like from just from birth. Like you're already subjected to like a certain group. You're not allowed to interact with people within a higher caste. So if you're within a lower group, if you have a business, like, you can't try to fix that. See what?
Yeah, there was a little thing that's this little angel or something. I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's just you think like everyone over here. The main thing is supporting small businesses. If it was if we were in a communistic country, there would be no small business to support or because they're owned by the government. So it's like
that's why it's funny when you say like the Chinese are successful outside of everywhere but China. Like inside of China, like the companies are owned by the state really. So
like you think about it, how is China exporting so much but they receive nothing? There's literally an embargo between the United States and China. Like it's funny. It's like who else are they getting their stuff from?
We just send them the resource and they have the cheap labor.
Exactly.
They create everything for us, and we pay them to make the stuff for us. That's why I say it's designed in the United States, made in China.
Because of today's immigration debate, or is it tied into?
Oh no! Good heavens! I started this book in April 1982, so today's immigration debate was not the uppermost thing in my mind.
Well, I assume you think it may have some influence on today's debate.
I would hope so, because the situation there are so many pluses and minuses. It's going to take some very serious thought to sort them all out. For example, the winning of World War II without having to land American troops on the beaches of Japan, where they undoubtedly would have been slaughtered by the tens of thousands, was made possible solely by immigrants who came over here and created the American atomic bomb. The American space program and the Russian space program.
What is that called? It's where they got the Nazis and parted them.
What is that called? Run down the whole list of things that have been created. The garment industry in the United States and many other countries created by Jews and so on. So
yet you see the modern transportation today, and modern communication, I guess, is having less impact on the transfer. of human capital. The movement of people itself may not be as important.
Exactly. That is now you can transfer the human capital, by multinational corporations, by the internet, by sending people abroad to be educated. Most of the people who receive PhDs in engineering in the United States today are not Americans.
A lot of people don't like that.
That's right. Americans don't have the education in many cases to stand up to that kind of rigorous work.
In your book, you note that some immigrant groups seem to have these persistent traits that no matter where they go, they seem to have them. Why does that happen? And in a culture like ours where we're pushing assimilation, couldn't that interfere with that process?
Well, I think the groups that have a full range of skills, they have businessmen, they have workers, they have the whole range. They can have their own little enclaves. And in fact, the Germans and the Jews at one time had that kind of system. You could live on the Lower East Side of New York and you have your own doctors, your own businessmen, your own stores.
Yeah, every German town.
Speaking Yiddish every day without a word of English. And go on.
They came here and created their own little community.
It has its pluses and minuses.
You see them come here and they create their own little communities and stuff. Like, they wouldn't necessarily be able to express that within their own countries. They're able to come here and create that economic structure within
and you can see it so much on the West Coast with California, Arizona, Texas. Like, you think Texans are a bunch of, what you doing out here?
You see it in Pittsburgh, man.
Exactly.
Like, part of Pittsburgh, it's like you can tell it's like a lot of German influence.
And just in Youngstown, where I live, you can see how much Puerto Ricans there are. Like, it's just.
Yeah, but now it doesn't really matter because there's just like there's so many people moving around all over the place. Like, people are everywhere now. Like, so now.
We're just gonna be a bunch of mutts.
It's like those places, like, they're inspired by like these people that were there before, but it's like now there's like new people coming in. But like you said, most of the people who's getting these PhDs are immigrants.
If you have a group that is mostly unskilled workers, then they have to work for somebody else, and they have to be able to understand somebody else's language, and so it's crucial for them to acquire
most
the
Americans, culture. I know most of the viewers out there, you would want immigrants to speak English.
Most of the immigrants themselves want to speak English. The reason there's a controversy is that you have many activists, both from within the group and people in the larger society, who want to keep them foreign. But most of the immigrants themselves want to become Americans.
Self-appointed do-gooders.
Oh, you got it.
I want to talk more about that.
If we're a land that in God we trust,
Texas,
and Jesus says, "Let the children come to me," wouldn't you agree that we need to open our arms to Mexico?
No, because every country has to protect its own borders. There was a time when virtually every country in the Western Hemisphere not only allowed, but
yeah, I don't know about all that, Chief. Like I said, if they're helping the community, if they're making America, a better version of itself.
It doesn't matter if they come here to help. You weren't born in this country. It's like I was born here, so I'm guaranteed a certain set of rights. If you're not from this country and you come here, you're just given. You're not just going to be given rights.
I don't know. Of course,
these systems exist for a reason. So we don't have people from Canada just walking over like, I don't really want to live in Canada anymore. So I'm just going to walk over to the United States and live over here. Like, you can't just do that because there's already people that live over here where you're trying to come to. And there's people that are already paying taxes to. There's people that are already providing welfare to. Like you said, with the New Zealand example, their population is so small and they're able to create these great welfare systems on that. There's not that many people living there. That's why they're having that many immigrants coming.
But there's already people here that's messing up. That's not helping with taxpayers' problems too.
Exactly.
Think of Skid Row.
So do we want 100,000 more people who don't even speak English to help mess it up even more?
Okay, now then, what if we ship those ones off? Now, you're
going to ship Americans off to Honduras to work in Honduras and do what?
Well, think about it. They're not doing anything in America, so what are they useful for? That's what I'm saying. How can we have sweatshops?
Who are these people that are not doing anything in America? Who are you talking
about? You've never been to California. There's a place called Skid Row. Maybe we can put some pictures up. Where it's literally multiple streets of just homeless people, and you can't even go down the alleyway.
But those are American people that was born in America. That's an American problem. That's something for the state to handle and the state to address. That's up to the state to address.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
now,
it's up to the state it's up to the state to address illegal immigration.
Like I'm saying now, just a theory. Now, what if we get to a point where there's such an abundance that we have to ship them. Say we ship them to Mexico and we trade.
Why would we
for
ship
work on
Americans to Mexico?
because they're not doing. How are you American if you're not doing anything American or contributing?
Everything in this world is based on economics. You're not sending Americans to Mexico to do what? They're not to be a labor force. There's nothing.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If people want to come over here to better their lives, and people are in here and not bettering their lives.
Who says they're coming over here to better? They don't know who these people
Exactly.
are. People are different.
That's why
That's
why you make a system to where you monitor them over a course of year and see their progress. If they're just being a bum, then you deny the request to live here.
You don't think that's what he said. They already been doing that before. People would come into the United States and they would just release them and allow them to stay in the United States and work jobs. But then eventually they would still go back. But they would come and people would still just keep coming anyway. But some people were coming and they were bringing drugs in.
Well, yeah.
Some people were coming and they were bringing more of their family in. Like it's like
I get it, and I'm speaking from experience because my mom was actually what's it called? My mom was brought over here illegally. I had family in Mexico. There was a point in time where I believe that I had family members that lived in Mexico come to America to work and then go back. So I could see where that brings up a problem.
You got to understand, like, which country they're coming from. Like, you might be coming from Mexico. There's certain people who's coming from Mexico who have... Here's the thing. How are you coming into the United States? Are you running across a desert and jumping over a fence? Or are you are you like a student in Mexico who's coming to the United States for a better education, something like that? There's ways to get in. It's hard, but these systems exist. So our government is able to process who's coming in, how they have to regulate what money goes to who. If they have 100,000 people that's walking into the state, it's like, oh great, now we got to accommodate these new people while we're already trying to accommodate the people who's living here. Like it's not. It's a slippery slope.
You see, and I like this because I get both viewpoints. I agree with some of his viewpoints. I agree with some of what he's saying.
Look, I wish I
could speak unbiasedly because I'm speaking from a Mexican viewpoint where I've had family deported and then come across illegally. So I've seen both the best of both worlds. I've seen it where my mom works 80 hours a week and just to take care of me and my brothers, to where my dad came from Mexico and he became a cokehead. So I see both. I see what the two different people that could be coming in and their intentions. So
I don't know.
If you have your own viewpoints, I'm sure you guys can leave them in the comments. Just keep it respectful, and we appreciate all the support.
We're gonna react to more stuff like this, man. We like these
debate
videos,
topics,
debate type kind of topics. We're gonna react to more immigration stuff. I really don't know too much about immigration.
Exactly. So we're gonna educate ourselves. We're not afraid to educate.
Plus, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the reason why these people even come up into the United States is the United States' fault. So if you look at a lot of these governments that these people are running away from, like a lot of situations, all these gangs and stuff that's running rampant in like Mexico, Honduras, it's set up because the United States ran in and they put up these dictatorships that kind of like ruined the countries, and now that was kind of like to create a monopoly, so the United States can have an influence over the resources in them countries, like Venezuela, Colombia, all them places.
Exactly.
So it's not just, it all comes around. It all comes around.
Oh, we'll figure something out.
But yeah, if you enjoyed the reaction, hit that like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time.
Peace.